Intuitive Approach of Shankara's Vedanta by Sri GangoLLi DB, AdhyAtma PrakAsha KAryAlaya, Holenarasipura. In this lecture series, we have already seen 11 sessions. Today's is the 12th session. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣಮೂರ್ತಿ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರಿ ದಂಬೆ ಪುಣಚ ಬಂಟ್ವಾಳ ತಾಲೂಕು ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಕನ್ನಡ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಭಾರತ. ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 51. Vedanta as a spiritual science is known to propound the ultimate reality of Brahman, but Brahman as an empirical entity having a distinct existence is not known to people in general. How then can people entertain any desire to know it? Or how at all can there even be any inclination of the mind among the people to carry out any kind of deliberation upon such a phenomenon? What relationship is there between the Vidya, which Sri Shankara has called Atmaikatva Vidya in this Adhyasa Bhashya, and this Brahma Vidya? Brahman is not at all such an unfamiliar entity. Answer. The phenomenon, rather concept called Brahman, is born out of the root Brih, meaning a huge thing. That entity which is in all aspects aparichinna or infinite, indivisible beyond any limitations whatsoever, is itself Brahman. Sri Shankara has written in the following manner with regard to it. The fact that the entity of Brahman exists, it is of an eternally pure, conscious and liberated or free nature. It is all-knowing or omniscient, all-powerful or omnipotent, will be reckoned if the etymology of the root Brihi is studied. The sentence that Nitya Shuddha or eternally pure, Nitya Buddha or eternally conscious, Nitya Mukta or eternally free, liberated, an entity which can cognize everything and endowed with omniscience is itself Brahman, is one which signifies the familiarity of the entity of Brahman through the meanings of the words. But such a Brahman need not be reckoned to be a certain invisible, imperceptible phenomenon. In the Upanishads, it is declared to be AdhyAtma Brahman, meaning this Atman himself is Brahman. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Atman means that entity which is the essential nature of being in each one of us. Therefore, Sri Shankara has written the following manner, meaning because Brahman is everyone's Atman alone, it has to be accepted that the familiarity in the form of Brahman exists, does prevail. Everyone has been reckoning in the manner I am or I exist alone, and not in the manner I am not or I do not exist. If it were not familiar that Atman exists, then the cognition of the type I am, I exist should not have prevailed. In fact, it is not possible even to imagine in the manner I am not or I do not exist, because Atman, who is so popularly famous, is himself Brahman. It is tantamount to the latter also being familiar alone. Next, 52nd question. If Brahman is familiar as I myself, where is a need at all to deliberate upon it? To this, Sri Shankara has written this long bhashya in answer. Here in the bhashya excerpt, the following opinions of 9 different schools of philosophy are depicted. 1. The opinion of the common run of people and Charvakas that the body itself is Atman. The proponents of the theory that the senses and prana, the vital force, are together the Atman. Third one, the logicians opine that the mind itself is Atman. Fourth one, the opinion of Kshanika Vijnanavadins, or proponents of ephemeral or momentary idealism, that Vijnana or intellectual idealism is itself Atman. Fifth one, the tenet of Madhyamikas, that Shunya or nihilism, essencelessness, itself is Atman. The Mimamsakas opinion that Atman is, by virtue of his aviveka or non discrimination, A Gunadharma Bhoktru or an enjoyer of objects endowed with the three gunas or sattva, rajas and tamas. Sattva, rajas and tamas. Eighth one, the opinion of Patanjali's yoga school that Ishwara or Lord also exists apart from this Bhoktru or this Bhoktru of the Sankhya's. Ninth one, the verdict of Vedantins that Ishvara is the Atman alone of samsaris or transmigratory souls. It's also further decided that only after deliberating upon and discriminating about all such varied opinions in a true seeker of the reality will attain self-knowledge, jnana, to the effect that Paramatman or Supreme Self of the very essence of Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarupa alone is Satyam or the ultimate reality. Therefore, what has been propounded to the effect that for attaining Atmaikatva Vidya or non-dual reality of Atman, one should carry out deliberation on Vedanta Vakya or Upanishadic sentences is proper indeed. In the same manner, later on the Sutra Bhashya, while elaborating on the meaning of the word Tat in the sentence Tattvamasi, Sri Shankara has written in this long Bhashya portion, there are many topics, subtle points we have to be kept in mind. And they are in the sentence Tattvamasi, meaning that Brahman itself are you. Brahman, which is the meaning of the word Tat, is the Anubhava Swarupa or of the essential nature of intuitive experience, which is devoid of any special or distinctive characteristics, Nirvishesha, having no features whatsoever of samsara or transmigratory life, and is of the nature of self illumining pure consciousness, Chaitanya Prakasha Rupa. Next, second, Tvam Padartha, meaning Chaitanya or pure consciousness, which is distinct and apart from the body, the senses, the mind, the intellect, and all psychic feelings and emotions, etc. Third one, the sentence Tattvamasi connotes Atman, who is non dual and of the very essence of pure consciousness. Fourth one, the cause for avidya, pratibandha, or the hindrance, impediment of nescience to know or cognize this Atman means only these three, with ajnana, non comprehension, nescience, samshaya, doubting, and viparyaya, misconception. Ajnana, samshaya, viparyaya. That's all. In the case of superior or first class seekers, Uttamadhikaris, merely by means of listening to the Vedanta Vakya or Upanishadic sentence, which expounds or enunciates the non dualism of the self, Atmaikatva, this aforesaid Advaita, avidya or nescience vanishes, falsified, sublated. Both the Vedanta Vakyopadesha or the spiritual teaching or instruction of the Upanishadic sentences and Vichara or intuitive deliberation on their purport are invariably meant for the exclusive goal of sublating avidya, which is nothing but misconceiving the body, the senses, etc., as Atman. That vichara is nothing but the avadhana or awareness, alertness or attentiveness that is to be devotedly, with all steadfastness, practiced in order to get rid of dehatmatva or false identification with the body, the senses, etc., superimposed upon one's own self, as well as to cognize Atman in consonance with one's own intuitive experience, anubhava anusara. It is nothing other than this kind of spiritual discipline indeed. So, here we stop this 12th session of intuitive approach of Shankara's Vedanta by Sri D.B. GangoLLi. Next 53rd question we will see in the next session. Hare Ram. Sri D.B. GangoLLi Charanarvindarpitamastu, Sri Sri Sachidananda Saraswati Charanarvindarpitamastu, Sri Shankararpitamastu, Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Tat Sat.